Assalamu alaikum, hi everyone. So today we are going to continue our RSVP. So last time we made this campaigns table. We added a factory and that factory was included in the seeder, and when we ran the migration command with the seed option, it filled the database with this 10 records. What we are going to do is to reflect these changes into our front end. So let's head to our code editor. So this is our campaign controller. What we are going to do is to utilize this show method. It's going to return our inertia render method, similar to what we did in the web PHP routes. So I will copy this line. So instead of returning inertia or anything or any view, I will just abort this one and I will return 403 and save. Now it will be forbidden. And what we are going to do is to create a new route for get campaigns slash like this campaign UUID, and the action will be campaign controller class, and the method is show, and this name is going to be campaigns, its name is going to be campaigns.show. So notice here that I'm using UUID as our slug basically, instead of just a normal ID. So I'll save this one, go back to our controller. I will paste the inertia render. We'll just make sure it's imported, and I will return the data. So the campaign, it will return campaign. Please note that this is not advisable method that I am doing here, which is returning the whole object of campaign to the front end. We will see in a minute why, but we are going to use resources in order to avoid any security issues. Later we will be using resources so we can display the exact data that is needed on the front end. So let's go to our home component. Let's retrieve our campaign, which is coming from use page props. Let's run the watch first. Let's check our localhost, and remember it's going to be campaigns slash the UUID. So let's go out to our campaign, copy the UUID, paste it, not found. So probably it's in the web config, and in the web PHP, and camp, it's a misspell. Okay, so now we are getting somewhere, and if you go to the home, which is our component, you can see that we have now this prop, which is our campaign, and we have all our data, including things that the user don't need to see. For example, like created at and updated at, and in some cases if there is a user attached to it who created this one and other details, it will pick them up also. So it is not advisable to pass the information this way. So we have multiple ways to pass the information, but first let's have this data reflected on the page itself. So I will go back to our home component, and for the title, it's this one. It's going to be campaign.title, and for the description, similar, campaign.description, Now we have our data ready to be imported from the database. For now I put the start date and the time, just start date, just for now, until we fix this on the backend. So let's refresh. Apparently I did something wrong here. So let's see what we have done here. The campaign, it is spelled correctly here. It's basically saying that the campaign doesn't exist. And this one is correct. Check here. Yeah, here. Campaign IGN. Let's refresh. So we can see that our data is reflected now. So remember that we said that there are multiple ways to handle the data retrieval. For our example here, we have the campaign, all its fields are displayed. So we want to customize that. So let's display the first option that you can do, which is, so campaign will return, instead of all the object, you say like this. If we add also the title here on top, this will go for the header. I mean for this part. So if we refresh, everything's still working. Now for some reason the title doesn't show up, we will fix that one. But for the campaign, now we see only the data that we chose to retrieve. So that's one way of doing it. Now to fix the title, let's see our component. So we are retrieving the title here, and in our home, yeah, we are not just retrieving the head, which is from Inertia React. Title equals title, so we will pass also the title here. And it's complaining because we need a root element, so I will choose this one. Paste, reformat, refresh. Now we have the title correct. Here we have the title, description, everything is correct. Before I show you how to do resource method, let's fix the date here. So to show it something like this. So here we have the exact readable date, and here the exact readable time. So to fix that, I'm going back to the campaign controller, and for the start date, we are going to utilize Carbon, and here I'm going to parse our start date. So there is an ISO format, for example, and if I recall correctly, if you pass 4 else, it will give you the same that we saw there. So let's refresh. As you can see, almost the same, this one. Now with the time, of course, but from my experience and in my cases, I needed a localized version of this date, so I can use the translated format, and that one I will type the following. And if we refresh, now you can see the same we have here. And for the time, I'll just copy this one, and it's going to be start time, and this will be the following. And I will pass it to my front end. It's going to be start time. So now we have done it this way. Let's create a resource and move everything there, so we can, in the future, if you need to retrieve the same data, you can retrieve it easily. So let's head to the campaign controller, this one, and instead of returning all this information, I will cut them all, I will return, let's first create the resource. Well, sale PHP artisan make resource. It's going to be campaign. Now here we have the resources folder, we have our campaign, and what we can do, instead of returning everything, we return whatever we copied previously, and instead of campaign it will be this. So I believe this is it. So if we can here do the following: campaign resources. From the resources it will be rewritten to this resources campaign to avoid conflict with the campaign model. And this, because it's a single item, it will be make, and if it's a collection then we return a collection, but it's a single item, it will be make of this campaign. It will return an exact match of what we had previously, almost the same, with the exception of that it will add a campaign data object. So there will be in every campaign dot something that we written here, like campaign, let me find all these, instead of campaign dot title, for example, it will be campaign dot data dot title. So that's our exception. Now if we refresh, apparently I made something wrong in the campaign. Probably you noticed. Yeah, it's a missing fresh carbon. Yeah, I didn't import this one. So let's check what we have done here. So we have everything. Yeah, I missed the watch, so it's 11 p.m. Now let's refresh. As you can see, we have the same information we had before, and now we can utilize this in a better way. And now we have seen how we can make use of the resources. Next time, inshallah, we will see how we can bind the data from the front end and send it back to the back end.